Hello guys, I am storWHYYYYY,
And I'm ShadowDog001.
and today I'm going against my better nature here.
You don't want to do this?
Well, this is even scarier than Chorus Punishment chapters.
By scary, do you mean like legitimate scary, or do you mean like scary as in like creepy kind of scary?
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Alright. Anyway, it's Halloween, so
Yeah, it only fits we do something.
actually scary.
Yep,
I guess so. People ask us why don't we just commentate on horror movies, but that would ruin the whole purpose because with us, we'd make it a comedy.
yep.
So alright,
Or
let's
we
start
would
with this
make
one.
comedies into horrors.
Yeah, people were like, oh my god, this is so terrible.
Yes, 2012, 2013, we have our next idea right now. Thanks for that, Nick.
Alright, let's get this started. I'm curious about this one, Nick.
And so it begins.
Okay.
Rain
This,
spattered
this,
across.
this really sounds like you're not ready for this. You're just like, oh. It's like someone's holding a gun to your head.
Rain spattered across the sand, causing a deafening roar, like that of 100
Dude, you
semis.
sound like a girlfriend I have sex with. Put oomph into it.
Like that of 100 semis crashing into each other in apocalyptic glory.
You sound so uninterested. You're like, yes, yes.
Yes,
Read
there's a
it.
bunch of semis and stuff. I've seen it before.
Fine.
All while the crack of thunder split the insanity, and wind swept it up into a cacophony of natural horror, with semis flying everywhere.
The fucking semis.
All while David sat glumly, shielding himself from the gale beneath a rather large tree. He was soaked to the bone and miserable, lost in Kanto with no map, no Pokedex, no food, and no company other than his beloved Pokemon. He
Oh no. Don't tell me this is where it's going.
probably not.
Oh.
He was sure he'd die of hypothermia or worse. David sighed, clinging tightly to his umbrella, which proved to be of little worth except for some sort of moral booster. His soaked blond hair clung tightly to his body. With an absent hand he fondled the pokeballs on his on his lap. Okay, maybe this is going where you think it is.
Ah. Don't tell me he's gonna, like, eat them.
Hmm. He clicked the switch on the front, releasing Gardevoir to stand beside him. Guard, she whispered to him soothingly. No, I'm fine, Gardevoir. I just wanted someone to be with, he replied, barely audible to the young Pokemon above the ripping winds. A shallow tear formed on the rim of his red eyes, but was blotted out the rest of the water that coagulated on everything within sight. She patted his shoulder. She was cute, even for a Pokemon. Her thin hips swayed, her plant-like hair messed up by the storm. No, what are you doing? He thought. She's an animal.
Wait. He's gonna fuck the trash bag Pokemon. Or trash.
No, not that one.
Oh, it's the evolved form.
Not even close.
Oh, isn't that the trash Pokemon? Gardevoir?
No?
Wait, which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about one of those Pokemon from 3rd gen that looked like a woman.
Send me a picture, I'm confused.
Okay.
Sorry guys, I don't know my Pokemon. So is this like a Jinx-like one?
Sort of, except a bit, well,
Oh, that one! Ugh!
yep.
He's gonna fuck that? Ugh. I hope not. At this point, I'm hoping he eats her rather than fuck her.
But yeah, she was so much like a human, only smaller and covered in fauna.
And plants, like, it's like fucking poison ivy.
Yep.
Ugh.
Plus, there was no one around for miles.
Oh god.
and no amount of, and no amount of math Masturbating could satiate the lust he felt out in the wilderness. If only he could feel the flesh of a woman against his. He put a loving arm. He put a loving arm around his Gardevoir, pulling her close and whispered, "Gardevoir, you know that I'm your trainer, right? Your master?" Guard, she nodded in agreement. He nodded in return.
Oh
And
god, this is getting way too. Ugh. I can see why you said scary. It's not like, oh no, there's a killer in the house scary. This is like, ow, my childhood is getting ruined scary.
Guard, she nodded again. And you would do anything for me? Guard, she nodded again. He moved another hand to her, sliding over her wasp waist and looking carefully into her eyes. She seemed to begin to understand. A look of fear welled in her eyes. David could feel a lump in his pants swell as he began to
He's got cancer now? Like, oh god, I got a lump.
as he began to force her upon the soaked ground.
Uh,
Delicious fauna, isn't it?
okay. I'm like, if you could see my face, it's just like, ugh. Like,
Actually, let's see it, Nick.
no, no.
Fine.
Fine, fine. I'm just like,
All right.
well, now I'm laughing, but I'm like, ugh.
The
Like I
sky
just ate
rumbled with
like,
thunder all around them. The tree above them creaked threateningly. The best thing about Pokemon is that they'll never be able to tell anyone about it.
uh, oh
They
god.
did at the end.
The end. Okay. And then they
You
did it.
wish.
Oh, yeah, I do.
In a flash, his pants were off and he was atop her. She squealed and struggled, afraid to fight back because he was indeed her trainer. Her mind had a block in it via.
But she's more powerful than him. Like she could just razor leave his penis off, you know, or something. Like there, he got neutered.
Her mind had a block in it via years of training, years of believing he'd never harm her, that he was her best friend.
So she doesn't want this.
Right.
Oh, so this is rape. Oh no, now it makes it even more scary.
Yep.
Ugh, God, it's like fucking your dog.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly what it is. It's like you if you were to do Blossom. Poor Blossom.
He ran a hand over her leafy posterior. A probing finger slipped in between, finding a hole. He knew little of the Gardevoir anatomy, but knew that any hole would work. He plunged his rock hard cock deep inside her anus. It was white hot. A wave of pleasure.
Wait, she doesn't have a vagina? I mean, don't they meet?
I guess she does, apparently.
But he said her anus.
Well, this person knows very little about human anatomy, as we'll soon see.
I don't want to see.
A
But
wave of pleasure washed over him before the first stroke. Gardevoir screamed in pain, her precious anus being pulled to 4 times its natural size.
oh God!
With each thrust she screamed louder, but David couldn't hear it. The crevasse formed tightly over his shaft, gripping harder than his fist ever could. Before long he finally came, filling her sphincter with his seed, white mixed with black blood as he pulled out, blood and feces dribbled out. The sight of Gardevoir laying there,
Oh God! This is
limping,
so terrible.
smeared with mud, blood, cum, and her own feces, unlocked something deep within David's soul. His heart
Disgusting.
soared at the sight. It felt so good. It was like he finally discovered his place in the world.
Oh,
While his spirit has become free, however, his mind quivered under the weight of his actions, struggling to block these memories from existence, enabling his attack. His mouth lowered in primal instinct, extending his pink tongue. As opposed to his blue tongue.
you don't know. Maybe he had a lollipop earlier.
He
Somehow.
lapped up her blood and chewed until prune fingers to smother himself. It was beautiful.
No, it wasn't. This doesn't sound good.
The bitter taste of poop and the coppery taste of her blood was like magic to him. Gardev, she moaned, hands digging into the dirt. She wept. How could she do this to him? Pain was splitting her because of him. He said he'd never hurt her, though maybe he wasn't. Maybe this was fine.
Ah, God, this is messed up.
No kidding.
Yeah, great idea, Brad. Now little kids are not gonna want to watch our videos anymore.
Okay.
You're like, I don't care. Not that there
We
was
had a
any kids
disclaimer
watching
up.
the beginning.
Well, you kids had a disclaimer up. Nick didn't, so this is all your fault.
Oh no. I'm gonna go kill myself now. No,
Goodbye.
sadly, I can't do that.
He flipped her bleeding, limp body over. His mouth met hers, lashing about inside of her toothed maw. Ew.
Yeah, that is gross.
Shouldn't you use something a bit actually no don't.
Yeah.
He kissed hard and deep as he carefully fit his
His shitty dick.
into her vagina.
Or poke vagina. Pokey vagina.
The
That doesn't. Okay, that sounds funny, actually. Okay.
head slid in easily and she whimpered. With a deft hand he massaged her clitoris. She tried to pull back to cry out, but he pushed into her harder. She screamed into his mouth. The vibrations filled him in ecstasy. He violently penetrated her, and wave after wave of pleasure engulfed them both. It was beyond the realm of human understanding. No kidding!
Yeah. No shit there, Sherlock.
Collapsing universes whirled around them, being born and dying in an eternal idiot firestorm.
Because he's molesting his Pokemon, now there's dimensions that are being shattered.
I think that was just some kind of metaphor.
It's like somewhere out there, Spider-Man's like, I sense a disturbance in the Force.
Hmm. I think I could jerk up to this disturbance.
Oh, shh. Spider jizz, anyway.
As he came again, he thrust harder, forcing as much of himself in as he could. His penis crashed into her cervix, and she let out a blood-curdling scream, clawed hands digging into his flesh. David didn't like that at all. No, she wasn't allowed to injure him. He drove his bleaching fist into her mouth. There was a crunch, and black syrup welled up in her mouth and eyes. She gurgled, and he smiled gleefully. Disengaged from her mangled secret, he crawled up to her face. Lifting her broken head, he plunged his dick into her wounded mouth.
Oh, God.
Gardevoir could take no more. Wait, wouldn't you want? Who would want their member in a
A mouth.
maw?
Of something that's hurting you. It's gonna,
A toothed
dump.
maw.
I know, it's,
Maybe he's
someone's
just
not,
that deranged.
yeah, he's not that smart. I mean,
Maybe
hell, he's fucking his Pokemon, so something tells me he's not very good in the head anyway, to begin with.
maybe he subconsciously wants his member torn off.
I hope so. That'd be a good ending. I mean, then the fanfiction could stop there. I mean, what is he gonna do? Like, testicular rape her? Wait, that.
Gardevoir could take no more. She gave himself over to him. He was her master. She would please him any way she could and never made another whimper in reply. She suckled on his piece as he pulled it in and out. Cracked lips smothered him, teasing glands and glands. Yeah, I couldn't tell which one's which, so let's just have both. He gripped her arms, squeezing tighter. More pain roared through her, and she sucked harder. She gagged, puking a little. The bite stung him, so he drove another fist into her eye. Through the pain she sucked and he finally came. As he did, his mind cracked a little more. He gripped her head, forcing his cock into the back of her throat. She vomited again, squirting half-digested plant matter all over both of them, and he lashed her. Her tiny bones splintered under his blows, and he came harder at her destruction. Weeks later, David
Wow.
finally found himself at Cerulean City. Wow, he must have been really lost.
Is that far from one another?
Probably.
You don't remember. I'm surprised.
Gardevoir wasn't looking very good. She didn't respond to vocal stimuli and couldn't see out of the eye. He caved in. No, really?
Really? Yeah. No, I thought that would improve her eyesight.
Just like
It's...
glasses. He felt no remorse for it. Even so, he felt glad. She was mentally broken. His attack had transformed her into the perfect sex slave. When he moved his cock near her, she would tilt her head, trying to find it, just as a baby searches for a nipple, and automatically begin suckling. She was infected, though. Mold grew upon her anus and wounded eye. Her vagina was yellow with infection, discharging constantly. She wouldn't make it another day. Also, that's kind of unpleasant to make love with.
Yeah. Can't you go to like Nurse Joy and
Oh, if only those existed.
there's free Pokemon centers. What are you talking about? They'd
David
be like, I violated my.
Center, which is in lowercase, Gardevoir in his arms. He came up to the reception desk, and there was Nurse Joy. Her eyes first went to David's dumb smiling face, but then down to the Pokemon in his arms, and she gasped. What happened? She said, stroking Gardevoir's hair with gentleness of a mother. I'm not exactly sure, he muddled coldly. I found her out in the forest like this. Tears formed in Joy's eyes, and she scooped the poor Pokemon up. Apparently Gardevoir is made of ice cream.
She's stupid. That's totally Pokemon. Wait, go back to that picture. There's no mouth on that.
They animated it in.
They forgot to animate it. Okay, moving on. Scooped her up.
Taking her over to the rejuvenation chamber for dying Pokemon in another room. After flipping the switch, the chamber filled with gases, obscuring outside eyes. Joy didn't mind that David had phoned her in and closed the door. She was too busy studying a complicated-looking readout now appearing on a computer screen. She bent over low as she typed slowly. A complete novice with computers, it appears, and as she did, her skirt teased her thick ass.
Oh my god, don't tell me this is going where it's going.
Her
Again.
eyes squeezed her legs delightfully. She was a delicious woman, and David would have no problem finding out how delicious it was. He slid up next to her. How's it,
Like a dragon?
how does it look, Nuss? He asked, putting a hand on her shoulder. Not very good. I'm afraid the rejuvenation chamber won't be enough for. No, not the Pokemon. Your cunt.
Way to be open. Oh, open of you, Joseph, or whatever his name is.
David.
Oh, whatever.
At this, the nurse spun around. A hurt look flashed across her face, and she bit her lip. She was exactly sure. She was exactly sure how to handle this situation.
Oh, she's been through this.
It was true that she was constantly horny.
And yet Brock never got anything from any of them?
Well,
That's very questionable. Maybe it's just this Nurse Joy? I don't
for that.
know. That's another fan fiction for another time.
Please don't write that.
Someone already have. Come on, think about it. I mean,
Oh,
if this exists, someone would probably already wrote a Nurse Joy X Brock
she
fan.
never had time for anything outside of the hospital. her tongue tingled at the prospect of being split. She eyed the door. Should she run? Should she have sex with this complete stranger? He seems dangerous, she thought. He seems dangerous. Yeah, he's kind of attacking you.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of sexually harassing you.
But as she did, her thighs pressed against themselves, pinching her slowly enlarging clitoris. David's hand began to unbutton her blouse, revealing a polka-dotted bra clasping two melon seed breasts. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the office, she said with as much courage as she could muster, but didn't stop him.
But
He,
it didn't stop him.
no,
Someone didn't double check this.
well, they obviously spell checked it, which
Uh,
has some creepy implications. He pushed her up against the computer terminal and mouthed her nipples. She gasped as he bit one, teasing it with his tongue. He sucked on it, and she lurched, not noticing her hands sliding down to his hips.
oh,
So now it's consensual.
I guess so, because it's a human. But then again, I don't agree with it too much, because in a way, isn't this kind of rapey? I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, he's not really, it's not like with his Pokemon earlier where he kind of forced on her. She's kind of like, no, and then she's like, whatever. So it's kind of
He
rapey, but not
lifted her and placed her upon the desk.
the desk.
Yes, the desk.
The desk, alright.
Her
Interesting location, but okay.
legs spread and she leaned back, forgetting that she was on the rag. And
Oh, come on. Oh, okay, now this is getting disgusting. Do you know what that means?
yep,
Ah, Vampire BJ.
he lowered himself to a knee, ripping off her clashing blue underwear and exposing her rosy, dripping hole. He gently tugged on the string sticking out, drawing a blood-soaked tampon out. It fell to the floor and thick chunks began to seep out. She burned for him, for this complete stranger.
That's dangerous.
Yes.
Like Darkwing Duck.
Please don't bring that in here.
Don't bring that. It fits in a way.
No, it doesn't.
Whatever.
His fingers moved into her, rubbing through the rough spot just inside the warm tunnel. His red tongue. Okay, now it's red. So his tongue's kind of like a chameleon.
Well, maybe it's red now because it's full of blood.
Probably. Slathered her clit. Okay, there we go. He sucked on it and hummed. He sucked on it and hummed.
What are you, a snake? Suck.
Okay, could you reread this? I can't. His fingers.
Okay. Red tongue slithered her clit. He sucked on it and hummed.
Do you realize what he's doing?
Yes. He's a hummingbird now. I guess I'm.
I needed that. A dizzy, buzzing
It's like,
feeling
I don't.
filled her head, and she began bucking, screaming in pleasure. Soon her screams of pleasure became those of pain as he forced 3 fingers into her tight pussy. She hasn't been with a man in so long. No, please, she gasped as her vagina slowly spread and grew used to the probing digits. He inserted another finger and
Wait, what the hell does that mean? Probing digits? Like,
fingers that are going in.
I guess so.
He inserted another finger and she gasped. This time her cunt burned in protest, showing no signs of widening. She squeaked. He forced another finger in and soon he was fisting
Oh God.
her, plunging his large manly hands in as far as they would go, spreading her wider, filling her. More, she growled through the clenched teeth, thick streams of saliva going down her cheeks. Fuck me harder, you piece of shit. And that's peace as in peace, bro.
I know. Like, you piece of shit. Someone forgot to put the I before the E and after the P. You piece of shit.
Excellent.
I'm trying to think. How do you make a little like what he said? A piece of shit. What's a
Well,
war
it's
of
sort
shit?
of like some kind of contract with another government. So that way you
Piece of shit. There's a country called shit. It's called America.
Yep. Give me a piece of America, man.
Here's a piece of shit. Here's Texas.
Yes, you can have Texas, please.
We have all the gay cowboys there. Anyway. David.
Didn't like this, however, and punched her in the gut. She lurched forward and gasped. But then, weighing how much fun he was having with being told what to do, he decided to insert his next fist.
Oh, what? Double fisting and oh my God.
I don't think Nurse Joy can actually take that.
Like, no, I don't think anyone could take that.
Her tendons popped and squeaked as he forced the other one inside slowly. Her cleft opened wider and wider still. She screamed in pain and pleasure until her throat bled almost as much as her cunt. Blood streamed down his arms, mixing with her cum until his shirt and the floor were soaked. There was a knock at the door, followed by a turning of a handle.
Oh no. Oh
In
snap.
strode the doctor the nurse had called for earlier, her father.
Oh. Shocker.
He stopped, shocked at the situation that unfolded in front of him. Well, what are you doing to my little girl? He murmured. Shut the fuck up, you old bastard, and get the fuck over here. Her mouth isn't going to fuck itself.
Wait, what? Wow. He's very, like, ballsy.
No social skills.
Very good at speech. This is Skyrim now.
David shouted, forcing his voice above that of Nurse Joy's. She was horrified that her father had walked in on this, and horrified at all the blood and what she had been coerced into, but she couldn't stop. Lust raged inside of her, overtaking all other motor functions. Fuck me, Daddy, she said, grinning a bloody smile. Her pleading eyes met his before she knew it. Her father's wrinkly lips.
Liver spotted dick was in her mouth.
Then they did it.
Who's... I'm gonna say everyone in this world pretty messed up. Now there's incest. God damn it, we had bestiality, then we had rape, then we had fisting, and now there's now this.
Oh, blood too. Can't forget
Yeah.
that.
Oh God, and there's gore now because.
The doctor,
Anyway,
doc-
David began to.
the doctor fucked her from the opposite side of the
Oh,
table. Her young tongue slid over the top of his dick, teasing the helmet. He bucked wildly, shakily. He had not had sex since his wife had died 10 years ago, and sometimes had dreams about his daughter. He tried to ignore them, push them to the back of his mind, but he could never help his sick fantasies. Sometimes he'd accidentally walk in on her dressing or showering, and would think about it later that night as he choked himself and petted his shriveling member. David began to. Thank you for that backstory that added so much.
yeah, I was just like,
And
We
that's
already know he's kind of messed up, but they're like, hey, you want to see how more fucked up this old creeper is? Here you go.
yep.
This little paragraph. Thank you. We needed that. Not.
At least they kept our barf bags plenty full. David began to grow bored. His maniacal, slowly splintering mind needed more horror to satiate it. It was a curse, but one he enjoyed. He drew one hand out of her weeping puss, much to her protest. With the other he gripped her cervix and twisted. Pain cut her, and she clenched her teeth and moaned, cleanly chopping her father's dick off as he came. The doctor fell backwards, and the nurse sat up straight. Her vision was blurred from the pain, but she was just barely able to see what David was doing. He had a knife out of his pocket and driven it into his urethra. His cock opened wide and he screamed, but he kept pushing hard down into his ballsack. More blood, more blood gushed.
I'm holding my dick from this, like, painful. I'm just, like, hoping that no knife cover comes out.
Eh,
I'm, like, protecting my dick with my hand.
eh,
I'm just like, no.
eh.
You're doing this thing. That's just a reaction, because you're like, oh, I don't know
He
what's happening.
puked, bile adding to the horrendous pain, but he couldn't stop. Slowly, memories of him and Gardevoir flooded back. All the fun they had back
Oh,
home.
I forgot about Gardevoir.
Memories, unfortunately, now you remember.
Like, now I do.
You remember her pokey vagina, don't you?
I don't want to, but now I do. Thanks, Brad.
You remember the speed in his sphincter?
Spencer.
Memories of his mother and father. How they wanted him to succeed. They wanted him to come home to spend time with their baby boy, which probably meant more of this. Of his first love, the girl he never got over. Her name was Misty. She wanted to see him again.
Misty? You mean like redhead Misty?
Yep,
You mean the one that was gym leader of water Pokemon?
yep.
What? Oh my god.
Are you surprised by this point?
No, not really. I feel like I was actually thinking like at one point Misty's gonna get fucked or something because that's in every Pokemon fanfiction. At least it would be with Ash, not Joseph or whoever this guy is.
She wanted to see him again. She had sent him a letter only a month earlier saying she wanted to be with him again. Then nothing felt the same without him. What was he doing here? He couldn't stop
I
his.
don't know, violating a woman with his hands
Yeah, there is no way that Misty's ever gonna want him anywhere in Kanto again.
or her. Oh, it's recording.
He couldn't stop his hands. They moved on their own, twisting out Joy's cervix bit by bit and slitting his genitals. At last his leathery bag was open. They gripped his testicles and pried them out, forcing them into his mouth.
I
What?
just threw up now. Yeah. Gotta eat. Now I have a horrible taste in my mouth. Thanks, Brad.
All three parties bled to death. It was in the news the next day. Gardevoir recovered but was forever in a tortured state of slavery.
Oh god.
Misty shook as she read it. She wept, and her mind grew jaded and hateful. She was alone in the world now. She didn't have anyone to go to.
Oh wait. So he died now?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Stupid fuck opened his testicles. And then he choked on his own balls.
Ah. She was alone in the world now. Nobody she loved. Nothing. Alone. She doesn't have any sisters. She doesn't have a trainer she likes to be around. She doesn't have Pokemon. She doesn't have other gym leaders she can trust.
Yeah, she's totally alone now. That one guy was her only world. How sad, Misty. How sad.
She
And you really know how to pick them, don't you? Really.
At least now she knows that he was a psychopath.
Alright. Well,
She
as
drew a
Black Diamond is
Pokeball.
online, continue.
She drew a Pokeball from her belt and opened it. Staryu appeared to her next. Staryu, she blushed and looked at him through teary eyes. Would you do anything for me? Star, he echoed. Her cunt burned. She needed it.
Oh, God. Here we
Finn.
go again. And it repeats. It's a cycle. Let me guess. Then she's gonna fuck Professor Oak or some, like, one of his aides or something, and she does the same thing that
Well,
Joseph did.
that's where it ends.
Well, okay. Well, I'm guessing that's what it is. Part 2. That's exactly what happens. She fucks one of Professor Oak's aides, and she cuts her own vagina up. And she chokes on her own ovaries. The end. And then Ash does the same thing that Joseph did, or what was his name? David. And then his mom does the same thing that Misty did, and it always repeats, and everyone ends up dying in Pokemon Land. The end.
Except for Giovanni, because that was his entire plan for a zombie apocalypse.
Yes! This was his son.
Yes.
I'm laughing. That was actually kind of funny. Alright. So, anyway, this was whatever this fanfiction was called. The Pokemon story. Wow. Okay, Brad, why don't you share your thoughts? Because, it's probably not very obvious to the audience what you think of this.
I am terrified of it, and now I am happy I never have to read this again.
Ever. And Congo. Anyway, same thing here. It's quite the scary thing. Certainly something different, but
If by scary you mean mentally scarring and everything.
yes.
I mean,
But then again, I'm a brony. We see shit like this a lot. I mean, it's very torturous, but whatever. I mean, this is the internet after all. I mean, what'd you
didn't
expect?
you
A
throw
happy
up once?
me? Yes, I did. When he said he cut open his balls and it went into his mouth, I was like, that yeah, like if actually I don't want to show it because I don't want people to be like, ew, throw up. But yes, there is throw up in my trash bin, and I will probably throw it away as soon as we're done talking here. But anyway, the hell? Oh, did you get a virus?
Nope.
Oh, I thought for a second like this fanfic gave you a virus. I was like, oh shit.
Yep.
How appropriate. Don't your
Yep.
computers always break on like Halloween? It happened with your Xbox that one time.
Yep.
Just like red ring.
And today we have finally topped that frightful year.
Yeah.
Last year was just a headache.
Yeah, with the what did we do? Core punishment.
Chorus punishment
Which
chapters.
yeah, which we didn't even finish because it was just like
Well, he had other personal problems that.
yeah, I couldn't handle it. I kept vomiting, or I was about to vomit. I was like, ugh, ugh.
Yes,
Felt
the
like it was
grammar was atrocious.
that's true. I was like, oh God, no apostrophe. Blah, blah, blah. What? That's not
There is
where you
not a
put the.
single period in sight.
Blah, blah,
I just got the flu from your lack of H's.
I don't
How
know
do you
how we
even miss
survived
H's?
spider season in that case. I mean, anyway, we're getting off topic, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
This is like behind the scenes.
Anything to block our minds from this.
Yes. Oh God. I'm trying to like just laugh it out, like, ugh.
Yep. You should probably, take a cold shower after this, see a
And just
doctor.
like cry in the corner and drink some Jack Daniels and
Yep. And hope that David Levery bag is not in it.
yes, I hope tonight David doesn't come into my house and rapes me
I,
like his
I
grandpa.
look for you, Nicholas.
I'm like, I came for you.
Nicholas naked.
No, I don't. It's too cold to be naked. Why are we talking about this? It's like
Why-
anything to not think about the first one.
Yep. Alright.
Uh,
We're just gonna have to do something a bit cleaner just to wash the taste of this out of our
yeah. All right. So we'll see you
nice
guys very
taste of
soon.
seed out of
Something
our mouths. So this has been
else. Shadow does use
447.
her. So we don't even. We're just so like mentally unstable.
Yeah, let's go now. Bye.